Speaker, I want to make sure I have this right. First, the Liberals impose a tariff on fertilizer that only punishes Canadian farmers. Second, they ignore any plea for an exemption on that fertilizer purchased before March 2nd. Third, they're offering no compensation, meaning higher taxes and input costs are crushing Canadian farm families. Right. So how many other G7 countries are enforcing a fertilizer tariff and putting their farmers at a competitive disadvantage?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary.
Mr. Speaker, the Conservatives keep proposing policies that they haven't really fully thought through. Rising gas prices is a global phenomenon, we all know, due in part to the war that Putin started in Ukraine. But if we implement a tax holiday, like the Conservatives have been proposing for a number of weeks now, energy companies could actually pocket...
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to interrupt the Honourable Parliamentary Secretary. I am having a hard time hearing her answer, and I'm sure the Honourable Member for Foothills wants to hear her answer as well. So I'm going to ask everyone to calm down, take a deep breath. The chatter is starting to build again, so the Honourable Parliamentary Secretary from the top, please.
Mr. Speaker, it seems that my answer is garnering a lot of interest on the other side of this House. I think that the gist of my response is that the Conservatives have been proposing a number of economic measures that they haven't thought through. Whether it's with respect to the gas tax or with respect to fertilizer, what they're proposing is simply a tax holiday which in no way guarantees that the ultimate consumer or our farmers will benefit at the end of the day.
Member for Foothills.
Well, please allow me, Mr. Speaker, to actually answer the question for the Parliamentary Secretary. The answer is zero. Canada is the only country punishing its farmers with a tariff on fertilizer. Right. Our G7 allies are doing everything they possibly can to ensure their farmers can increase their yields in a time of global food insecurity. Here, the Liberals are beating our farmers down with increased taxes, red tape, and without any consultation with stakeholders, a mandate to reduce fertilizer use by 30%. So knowing this, is the fertilizer tariff just another way for the Liberals to impose their activist agenda and force our farmers to use less fertilizer? Not gas.
The Honourable Minister of Agriculture.
We have an objective to reduce the we're not reducing fertilizer, we're reducing the impacts. So it is very important for our food security. So we are working very closely with industry, with Fertilizer Canada, and with many sectors who are supporting us, who want to do more and who appreciate the subsidies that we're providing to them. For example, for clean technologies and for good practices. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Regina Louvain.
This government's doing nothing for food security, Mr. Speaker. Day after day, Liberals claim Saskatchewan farm families are actually making money from their carbon tax. That's hogwash. In fact, a producer told me his rebates won't even cover 2 weeks' worth of fuel since the Liberals' last carbon tax unfair increase. My friend's cost to run his equipment now is $90,000 a week, wow. Mr. Speaker. So as the G7 countries around the world provide tax relief, and with the world's third largest producer of wheat in a war zone right now, what is this government doing to not punish our farmers and allow them to produce the food that the world needs, Mr. Speaker?
The Honourable Minister of Agriculture. Mr. Speaker, I can assure you that we're here to support our farmers and to increase production. We're in a situation with the illegal war on Ukraine. We know that we are trying to support Canadians. We know that Canadian producers want to do more. The government is there to help them in different ways. We had a budget in terms of with historic investments in agriculture last year to show how much we are there for the agricultural sector in different ways. Thank you.
Member for Lambton, Kent, Middlesex.
Well, Mr. Speaker, no farms, no food. Fertilizer prices are up 50% this year, plus 20% more since the Liberals put the tariff on. Now that's a 70% increase since last year. Now they say not to bite the hand that feeds you, but this liberal government has bitten the hand right off. Their poor decisions are pricing farmers out of business. Now without farmers, Canadians don't have food. Speaker, without farmers, where will our food come from?
The Honourable Minister of Agriculture. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Once again, our government has offered support to farmers, unprecedented, in fact. We're talking about $4 billion.
Est-ce qu'on est prêt? On peut continuer.
Are we ready? Can we continue?
Honorable Ministre.
The Honourable Minister. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So once again, our government is the one that has done the most in history to help our farmers. We're talking about $4 billion of support for farmers last year, and that is unprecedented. So for example, the agri-environment measures, and I can tell you that our farmers are part of the solution into climate change because they're the first affected, and they know that. Thank you.